In a world where everyone has their own YouTube channel and podcast, this guy had a YouTube channel but no podcast. Now, here's the guy with zero original ideas.
He's a little girl in big boy pants.
It's Shawn Cash and the Shawn Cash Podcast.
I am racking my brain, but I can't even begin to imagine why you'd make something like this.
Yeah, I'm just as surprised as you are. I am doing another PodCash, and I'm doing it because I had a lot of questions that I didn't get to, and I had some of my Patreon members asking why their questions weren't addressed. I also received some new questions, and I thought I would... Sorry, my phone's distracting me. I'm just trying to answer some of those questions, and I'm behind on getting my video out this week. I am still working on that Raven helmet, and I figured I would release another PodCash just to get me through when I've got this helmet done. So, questions. Let me get to these. I love Star Wars and Star Trek. Oh, nope, sorry. That's not at all what this says. It says... I love the Star Wars Star Trek shirt you were wearing on the... I can't read. I love the Star Wars Star Trek shirt you were wearing on the Painting the Raven on the Helmet video you put out. Can you tell me where you got it? And can you be a fan of Star Wars and Star Trek? Sure. I don't know why you're asking me. I'm definitely not the barometer of if you can be, but I am. I'm a fan of Star Wars and Star Trek. I don't remember where I actually got the shirt. I've had it for a long time. It is one of my favorites. But yeah, I definitely think I'm a fan of movies. I enjoy being entertained, and I even like a lot of the movies that people hate, whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek. I'm simple-minded. I am easily entertained, and I enjoy just the experience of going to the theater with a bunch of people and just watching something. And I'm very easily entertained. But yeah, I'm a fan of Star Wars and Star Trek. I was actually in an episode of Star Trek Voyager. I think when I did a podcast with Inside the Booth, I talked about this. And if you didn't see it, I'll tell you really quick. On Star Trek Voyager, back when my morning show partner and I used to do morning radio, we had a listener to the show that... I don't know how much I can say here. He was the son of somebody very, very high up in Star Trek. And he used to hear us talking about Star Wars and Star Trek and stuff all the time and asked us if we wanted to be extras. And we said, hell yes. So we drove down there and we got to be in an episode of Star Trek Voyager. It was Prime Factors. That was the name of the episode, Prime Factors. Yeah. Prime Factors. Anyway, when we were there, we got a chance to know some of the cast members, and we hung out with Garrett. I don't know if I should say that we hung out with Garrett, but we hung out in his trailer, and we were always trying to make each other laugh on set. We were there for a weekend, and it was a ton of fun. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that. And yes, I think you can... All right, I'll tell you a quick story. Sorry, tangent. All right. So when we were on set, I was wearing... this hot pink outfit. We were the Sicarians, I believe, was the race. And we had like these coils and things in our hair. And we were a pleasure-seeking race that traded stories as currency. And that was what we did on our planet to be able to exchange things. And at one point, Captain Janeway is walking up the stairs, and she's with the head honcho from this city. And I'm at the top of the stairs, and I'm a bead salesman trying to sell my wares, and I offer them my beads. Would you like some of my beads? And he says, oh, I've seen all of these before, and that was my big scene. But aside from that, they used us as moving scenery in the background, and when things would be going on and there would be people acting on camera, we would be walking around in the background so that it didn't look static, so that it looked like things were going on in the town. And at one point, we were trying to... There's a guy who's a DP, and I don't know what that stands for. Director of photography, maybe? And his job is to make sure that everything is going perfectly on set and that things are right. And so he's always looking at background and the way people are moving, and he's cueing people to leave and people to walk and different things that are going on so that he can make sure that this looks right, because that's his job. And at one point, we're walking around, and he says, hey, everybody back to starting point. You in the red. Try and walk softer. We can hear you on camera. All right. So everybody goes back. We walk again. Hey, you in the red. Walk softer. Walk softer. I don't understand why you can't walk softer. Everybody back to the starting point. We start over at the beginning again. We start walking. Goes, what is your problem? And I realize as I'm looking around at everybody else, and this is the first time I paid attention, oh, I think he's talking to me. And Garrett, one of the stars of the show, is cracking up because I keep doing the same thing. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh, and he goes, yes, you in the red. What is your problem? Walk softer. Me being a smartass, I say, I'm not wearing red. It's hot pink. Garrett loses it. We all start laughing. And weird. I was never asked to be back to be a part of that. And there was a very big name person who invited us to be on that. I think we would have been ejected right then from the set had the people that we were associated not been associated with us for that. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, and I really, really enjoyed it. All right. You are a liar. I was watching your last PodCash, and you mentioned that you have to start your YouTube channel and not care if it is successful. And you yourself obviously care if yours is successful. I've heard you complain in your videos when people unsubscribe. Well, you asked for my advice. So I don't think you should care when you start your YouTube channel. Does that make... Yes, I care. I care. For those that don't have a YouTube channel, and I am probably talking to 3 of you, when you start a YouTube channel, you get this app called the YouTube Studio. And with this studio, you can see how many subscribers and how many views each video has and how many hours people are watching. And there are people that know this app way better than me. David Whitey's Workshop, he knows this app way better than I do. I don't know a lot of the things that this app can show you, but I've used just the basics of this, and I'll have a video that'll come out, and I'll lose like 5 subscribers when a video comes out, and it hurts. I fully admit I am confused. I don't understand. I'm. This is gonna sound so petty. I don't understand why people unsubscribe to a YouTube channel. It doesn't cost you anything. Maybe it's just cleanup. Maybe you just realize, hey, I'm following 50 people, and then 50 is my limit. Now I'm at 51, and this Shawn Cash guy, he's annoying, and I'm going to drop his. And maybe that's what it is. But as somebody who puts out a channel, all you have, that's like when I was in radio, we would always look at the ratings of our morning show. And subscribers is how I view ratings. And I would love, my next goal, when I first started, I can't stop playing with the greeblies all over the table. When I first started, 100 is what I wanted to get to. And then it was 1,000, and now it's 5,000. I would love to be at 5,000. I'd love to be at 10,000, but 5,000 is the next goal for me that I will be happy, and then I'll be stressed that I'm not at 10,000. But 5,000 is the next goal, and so every time that I drop down 5 or 10 or whatever it is, I realize that I'm farther away from that goal, and that's why I get stressed about it, and I don't know why. It's just one of those... I'm sorry. I should have turned my phone off, because now I'm getting these. Can you see that? Spam likely. Scam likely. God, I hate that. I'll turn that off so that... All right, another quick tangent. I'm going to give you a tangent on my tangent. Did I get to the end of this? I'm a liar. Yes, yeah, I'm a liar. I care about my channel. So, this tangent. So, when my wife and I were first married, we had gone to a movie theater, and they had a Porsche sitting in the lobby, and it was a sign up to win. They were giving away this car, and you had to put down your name and information. And as I was doing it, I knew that it was a giant scam. I knew it was a lie. I knew that this wasn't to win a car. And I even told my wife this as we're filling it out. And I did it anyway, because I really wanted the car. But we fill it all out, and I put my name in, and I drop it in the thing. And about 2 weeks later, I get a phone call, and it's right around the time that they're supposed to be doing the giveaway for the car. And I know that I haven't won the car, but I get a call from somebody, and it's a number that I don't recognize, and they say, "Hi, we're calling. We know that you registered to win a car. Well, we're calling on behalf of Timeshare America," or whatever it was. And I immediately knew that now here's the sales pitch for something else. I didn't win the car, and I decide to play a joke back on these people, and I just start screaming. I'm losing it. "Oh my God, I can't believe it. I have never won anything. This is the greatest day of my life. This is fancy." And the person on the phone is like, "Sir, and they're stammering around trying to tell me that I haven't won. And I'm just screaming and I'm losing it. "Oh my God, this is so great. Thank you so much." And the person finally gets a word in and says, Sir, you haven't won the car. You haven't won the car. We're calling to tell you about a timeshare. You haven't won." And I said, "What was that?" And he says, "Sir, you haven't won the car." And I said, "Then why are you calling me?" And I hung up. Anyway. Back to the questions here. Do you ever revisit a finished project because you feel you rushed it, or when looking at it, you find ways that you can improve it? Yeah, I do that all the time. I mean, one of the reasons that I started this channel is it forced me to get to a stopping point, because I have a tendency to really dwell on a project for a long time. And I just did a video on one with Odin where I went back and redid the container that we made to hold my thermal detonators. And I do that all the time. I'm looking at some stuff over here. I know that I want to redo that Baby Yoda frozen in carbonite. I do that all the time. I think everybody does. I think the longer that you sit with something, the longer you look at it and realize ways that you can make improvements. And I don't think that every time you go back to a project, you do improve it. I think sometimes you can overdo something. You have to kind of just get to a point where you just stop and back away from it and just call it good. I know that like great painters and stuff do that. You can really get caught up in your own head and just never finish a project because you just keep going at it and keep going back to it. And you have to eventually just stop, walk away, and go, all right, this is good. Can you give us a few good places to find greeblies? Do you think laser cutters, 3D printers, and all of those things are necessary? No, I don't think all of it is necessary. They're great toys and they're great tools. You can, from somebody that used to do construction, you can get by with very few tools. The more tools you have, the quicker and easier it makes some things. But I'm sitting here holding, I have a bunch of pieces and greeblies and things that I've been working on this helmet. And I made this thing over here. These are all done on the laser printer, but they're not necessary. I mean, the one that's on the cheek was modeled after this piece that was from a Star Wars toy set. I think it's supposed to be a window, but I wasn't able to use this because it was a little taller than I wanted it to be. So I made my own version of it using the laser cutter. And I don't think you need these tools. Are they helpful? Well, sure, they're helpful. I mean, the 3D printers are amazing. I would love to get a resin printer, and there's more on that because I've been talking to, another tangent. I've been talking about the Whale 2 printer from James at the Rebel Base build, and I've got more to get to on that in a minute. But no, none of these things are necessary. I cannot keep focused. I think they're all helpful. I think they're handy, but there are some great channels out there. Garland, he has a great channel that shows you where to find great greeblies, and then he builds projects from the greeblies that he finds. And Kelly Stern is somebody else. I built that wall panel, and I was asking Kelly where he got some of the cool things for his wall panel, and he said inside VCRs. He took apart VCRs, and you can get VCRs at the Goodwill. I'm constantly at the dump because I live on property and I'm throwing things away at the dump, and every time I'm at the dump, I look over in the electronics section, and they don't want that stuff. They want to get rid of it, and if you just ask them, hey, can I have that VCR that's sitting there? They let you take it. I leave with all kinds of stuff from the dump. My wife loves it. She doesn't. But yeah, you can find incredible greeblies inside of a lot of things, and you don't have to have it be an exact thing. You can make your own using found parts, and Star Wars anything. Greeblies are meant to be pieces of model kits and things that you find in everyday life and use them for something else. And I love finding greeblies, and Garland's got a great channel. Follow Kelly Stern, Props and Villiany. He's always making really cool Star Wars panels, and he has found greeblies all over all of them. And I'm going to try and keep this short because I've got to get back to work on this helmet. But I did want to do another PodCash to be able to answer some of these questions. And thank you very much, every one of my Patreon members, and for everybody that takes the time to watch these videos. Thank you again, and we'll see you next time.